Hello friends, welcome to Doubt Forum. This question is: a light rod of length L has two masses m1 and m2 attached to its two ends. The moment of inertia of the system about an axis perpendicular to the rod and passing through the center of mass is, and these four options are given. This question involves the concept of moment of inertia and the center of mass. So before I solve this question, I would like to explain a little bit about the center of mass and moment of inertia. So let's begin with the center of mass first. Center of mass of an object is a point where we can assume that the entire mass of that object is concentrated. Suppose this is a rectangle. The mass of this rectangle is m. So center of mass, which may or may not lie within the physical boundary of that object, because there are certain cases where the center of mass is not on the physical boundary of that object. Center of mass is a point where we can assume, suppose this is the point where we can assume that this entire mass m is concentrated on. This will become more clear if we consider a point object and the mass of this point object is m, which is equal to the mass of this rectangle. Now consider the application of a force F. If we apply force F on this point object, what will happen? This point object will start accelerating on the direction of this force, and the magnitude of that acceleration would be F upon m from the Newton's second law. But what will happen if we apply the same force on this rectangle? If we apply the force F on one end of this rectangle, so instead of accelerating on the direction of force, this object will start rotating. This object will start rotating about an axis. It will not accelerate on the direction of this force, although it will start rotating about an axis, and that axis would be the axis of center of mass. And if we want to accelerate this object in the direction of this force, we need to apply the force F on the center of mass of this object. And if we apply the force F on the center of mass, then only this object will accelerate in the direction of force applied. This is the force F, and this force we are applying on the center of mass of this object. So this object will not rotate, although it will behave like a point object. So this object will also start accelerating in the direction of this force F, and the magnitude of that acceleration would be equal to F upon m, which is equal to the acceleration of this point object. So this is the significance of the center of mass, that if we apply the force F on the center of mass of that object, this object will behave like a point object. So this is the one scenario where the density of that big object is uniform. If the density of these objects are uniform, then the center of mass would lie on the geometrical center. So the geometrical center of such shape would be the center of mass of that object. So if we take the example of triangle and the density is uniform, then its centroid would be the center of mass. Similarly, if we consider the circle, suppose this is a circle, and if the density of this circle is uniform, then the center of this circle would be its center of mass. So this is the one case when the density of these objects are uniform, then the geometrical center of such object would be the center of mass. Now consider a case where the density is not uniform. Suppose this is a rectangle, and if the density of this rectangle is uniform, then its geometrical center would be the center of mass of this rectangle. But suppose half of this rectangle is made up of heavier matter. So this part is heavier, and rest half is filled with or made up of the lighter material. So this one is lighter material. Then the center of mass of such object where the density of the object is not uniform, the geometrical center would not be the center of mass. So in this case, the center of mass would be shifted towards the heavier part. Okay, so we cannot find the center of mass of such object easily. So as long as the density of object is uniform, we can easily find the center of mass from the geometrical center of those objects. If the density is not uniform, then we cannot apply this geometrical center concept in such cases. There's a third case also. Suppose there's a system which consists of more than one masses. Suppose this is mass m1 and there's a mass m2, and these two masses are separated by length L. And if we want to find out the center of mass of such system, then how can we find out? So for such type of system, we have a formula. So this is a formula: m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 divided by m1 m2 m3. So by substituting the value of m1 x1 m2 x2 and dividing with m1 m2 m3, we can find out the center of mass. So suppose there is a system consists of a mass m1. So suppose this is mass m1. There's another mass m2. This is mass m2. And there's a third mass m3. And if we want to find out the center of mass of this system, we can use this formula to find out the center of mass. One thing we need to always remember that first of all we have to find out a point from where we want to find out the center of mass. So first thing is, in such type of problem, the first thing is that we have to mark a point from where we want to calculate the distance of center of mass. So this is the point from where we want to find out the center of mass. So this distance would be x1, this distance would be x2, and this distance would be x3. Okay, so this is how we can find out the value of center of mass. So this xcm would be the distance of center of mass from this assumed point. So always remember, in order to find out the center of mass, instead of marking this point outside this system, it would be easier if we calculate the center of mass from any one of these three masses. This would be easier for us. Now let's consider we want to calculate the center of mass from this point. Okay, so from this point, the value of x1 would be 0 because x1 is the distance of object m1 from the point from where we want to calculate the center of mass. So because we are assuming this point on the object m1, so this x1 would become 0. So x1 would be 0. Now the x2 would be the distance of this point to the mass m2. So this would be our x2. x3 would be the distance of point we assume to the mass m3. So this would be x3. So if we put the value of m1, m2, x1, x2 on this formula, so this would be xcm would be equal to m1 into x1 is 0 plus m2 into x2 is the distance from the assumed point to mass m2 plus m3 into x3. x3 is the distance from the point we assumed to mass m3 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. So this term would become 0. That's why I'm saying that always try to mark the point in any of these three masses. So this way we can eliminate one of the term in this equation. Now let's do some practical example. Now consider there is an object m1. The mass of this object is 2 kg. And there's another object. Suppose this is a bigger object. And the mass of this bigger object is 6 kg. Distance between these two objects is, let's consider 10 meter. And now if we want to find out the center of mass, what we will do? First thing, we always need to mark a point from where we want to calculate the center of mass. So what I will do, I will be marking that point on this 2 kg mass, because this way I will be removing the x1 term. So this is the point from where I want to calculate the center of mass. So xcm would be equal to mass m1 into x1. So m1 is 2 kg into x1 is 0 plus m2 is 6 kg into x2 is the distance from the point I assume to mass m2. So this distance is 10 meter. So this would be 10 meter divided by m1 plus m2. m1 is 2 kg plus m2 is 6 kg. So this would be equal to, in numerator this term would be 0 and this term would be 60 kg meter divided by 6 plus 2 8 kg. So this would be equal to 7.5 meter. So this 7.5 meter is the distance of center of mass from the point I assumed as the reference. So this blue point was the point of assumption. So from this point the center of mass is 7.2 meter away. So from this blue point we have to mark a 7.2 meter, and this would be the center of mass of this object. We can also calculate the center of mass by assuming this as the reference point. So then let's again calculate the center of mass by assuming 6 kg as the reference point. So now what I am doing, I am assuming this 6 kg point as the reference. When I assume this 6 kg mass as the reference point, so right of this is positive and the left side is negative. Okay, because we are assuming this to be center point or 0. So this side would be positive, this side would be negative. So the center of mass which we want to calculate from this reference point will be equal to mass m1. m1 is 2 kg into x1. x1 is the distance of mass m1 from the reference point, because this is the reference point, and from this reference point the distance of this 2 kg mass is minus 10 meter, because this is the reference point. So left side of this is negative, so this would be minus 10 meter. I have to write that minus 10 meter plus m2 x2. m2 is 6 kg into x2 is the distance of this mass m2 from the reference point, because the reference point is the 6 kg mass, so the value of x2 would be 0 meter, divided by m1 plus m2. m1 is 2 kg and m2 is 6 kg. So from here what I will get? I will get 2 kg into minus 10 meter. This would be minus 20 kg meter, plus this term would be 0, divided by 2 plus 6 is 8 kg. So this would come out to be 2.5 of minus meter. So minus 2.5 meter from the reference point is the center of mass. So because this is our reference point, so from this reference point we have to travel minus 2.5 centimeter. So if we travel minus 2.5, it means we have to travel from towards the left. So if we travel minus 2.5 meter from this reference point, so we will again reach the same point as we have reached in the first case. So the center of mass would not change. It only depends the reference point which we are assuming. Okay, so this is how we can find out the center of mass of a system consisting of more than one masses. Now let's talk about the moment of inertia. To understand the moment of inertia better, we have to understand the concept of mass in linear motion. In linear motion, the mass of an object will always try to resist that object being linearly accelerated, because the linear acceleration a is given by F upon m. If the mass of an object is higher, this object will create more resistance in being linearly accelerated. Similar to this, in angular or rotational motion, we have the concept of moment of inertia, which is represented by letter I. So due to the moment of inertia of an object, that object will try to resist the angular acceleration. If I rewrite this Newton's law for the rotational motion, this linear acceleration would be the angular acceleration represented by letter alpha. This would be equal to force will be represented by torque, tau, and mass is represented by moment of inertia. So from here we can say that the moment of inertia of an object will determine that how much resistance that body will create on being angularly accelerated. So this is the basic definition or the basic understanding of the moment of inertia. Moment of inertia is the mass equivalent in rotational or angular motion. As in linear motion, mass will always try to resist the body on being linearly accelerated. Similar to that in rotational or angular motion, the moment of inertia of that object will try to resist the body on being angularly accelerated. So this is the definition. Now coming to the derivation part, the moment of inertia is the second moment of mass. It means m into r square. Consider this to be an object of mass m, and this object is rotating about an axis. So this is an axis. So the moment of inertia of this object of mass m, which is rotating about an axis, would be equal to the multiplication of mass into perpendicular distance of this object from the axis of rotation. Square of that. We have to take the square of that distance and we have to multiply it with its mass. So this is the formula for moment of inertia. Now consider what happens sometimes. The object is not made up of a single mass. Sometimes there are more than one mass. So this is m1, this is m2, there may be m3, there may be m4. So in this case what will happen? We have to take the summation of all. So this is m1. So the distance of this mass m1 from the axis of rotation, we are assuming it to be r1. Similar to this, suppose this object is of m2 and the distance of this mass m2 from the axis of rotation is r2. Now this object is m3, mass is m3, and the distance from the axis of rotation is r3. Suppose this is mass m4 and the distance from the axis of rotation is r4. So the moment of inertia of this system would be equal to I would be equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus m3 r3 square plus m4 r4 square. If we have more than 4 masses, we have to take the moment of inertia of each masses and we have to add them all. So this way we can find out the moment of inertia for a system consisting of more than one masses. Now let's come back to the question. So in this question there is a rod. Suppose this is a rod. It is a light rod, and one end of this rod there is a mass m1. So this is mass m1, and on the other end another mass m2 is attached. So this is m2. The length of this rod is given as L. So we have to find out the moment of inertia about an axis perpendicular to the rod and passing through the center of mass. So first of all, we have to find out the center of mass of this rod. So suppose this is the center of mass. We are just assuming that this is the center of mass. The distance of mass m1 from the center of mass, we are assuming it to be x1. Similar to this, the distance of mass m2 from the center of mass, we are assuming this to be x2. Now the moment of inertia of this object would be equal to I is given by m1 r1 square, I have just explained it, plus m2 r2 square. This is the moment of inertia. So this would be equal to m1 into r1 is the perpendicular distance of m1 from the axis of rotation. So if this is the axis of rotation, so from this point x1 is the perpendicular distance. So this one would be x1 square plus m2 into x2 is the distance of mass m2 from the axis of rotation. So this is x2 square. So this is the moment of inertia of this object. Now further, what we need to do, we have to replace x1, x2 in terms of m1, m2 and L. This is all we need to do. So how can we do that? If we want to replace x1, what we can do, we can assume this to our reference point, and from this reference point, this x1 is the distance of center of mass from our reference point. So we can easily use the basic formula of center of mass. The basic formula of finding the center of mass, I have told you, it is xcm is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2. This is the basic formula. And to apply this formula, we always have to consider a reference point. So if we assume this to be reference point, so from this reference point, the distance of center of mass, which is xcm, is nothing but the x1. So if we want to find out the x1, so x1 would be equal to m1 is the mass of first object into x1. Here x1 is the distance of mass m1 from the reference point. Always remember that. So the distance of m1 from the reference point is 0 because we have assumed m1 to our reference point. So this would be 0 plus m2 into x2. x2 is the distance of mass m2 from the reference point because this is our reference point. So the distance of mass m2 from this reference point is L, which is the total length of the rod. So I have to write it here, L divided by m1 plus m2. So this would be equal to, so in place of x1 I can write m2 L upon m1 plus m2. So we can simply replace x1 from this. Similarly, we also need to replace x2. So in order to replace x2, what we need to do, we have to find out the value of x2. So what I will do now, I will assume this mass m2 be our reference point. If mass m2 is our reference point, let me use the same blue color. If this is our reference point, so this xcm is the distance of center of mass from our reference point, and our reference point is m2. So the distance of center of mass from this reference point is x2. So if we apply this formula, assuming m2 be our reference point, so this would be x2 is equal to m1. m1 is the first mass, m1 into x1. Here x1 is the distance of first mass from our reference point. Because I have assumed m2 be our reference point, so the distance of m1 from our reference point is the L, which is the total length of the rod. So I have to write L in place of x1 plus m2 is our second mass into x2 in this formula is the distance of second mass m2 from the reference point. Because we have assumed m2 be our reference point, so this value of x2 is 0 divided by m1 plus m2. So this term would be 0. So the value of x2 would be m1 L divided by m1 plus m2. Now what we will do, we will simply replace x1 and x2 in this equation. So let me write from here, because this will be being a lengthier equation. So this would be m1 into, in place of x1 I have to write m2 L divided by m1 plus m2. So this would be m2 L divided by m1 plus m2 whole square plus this m2 into, in place of x2 I have to write this formula, which is m1l divided by m1 plus and m2, and I have to take the square of that. As we can see that L square divided by m1 plus m2 whole square is common, so I will take it common. So this is L square divided by m1 plus m2 whole square. This is common. So inside bracket would be m1 into m2 square plus m2 into m1 square. This is left inside. On further simplification, I will get m1 plus m2 whole square, and here as we can see that m1 into m2 is common, so this would be m1 into m2. Here we will get m2, here we will get m1. This m1 plus m2 will cancel the one term. In numerator we will be having m1 into m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into L square. So this is going to be our answer, and if you match our answer with the option given, so the option number A would be the correct one. So let me quickly revise it. So this is a rod. At one end of this rod a mass m1 is attached, on the other hand mass m2 is attached. The length of this rod is L. We have to find out the moment of inertia about an axis which is perpendicular to the rod and passing from the center of mass. So we are assuming this is the axis which is passing from the center of mass and perpendicular to the rod. So the moment of inertia of such system is given by m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. r1 is the distance of mass m1 from the axis of rotation. r2 is the, here I have to write r2. r2 is the distance of mass m2 from the axis of rotation. So we have simply put the value of r1 as x1 and r2 as x2. Now we have to replace x1 and x2. So in order to replace x1, what we will do, we will simply apply the concept of center of mass. So this is the formula of finding the center of mass for such system which is consisting of more than one object. So if we assume m1 to be our reference, then and after that we apply this formula. So m1 is first mass into x1 is the distance of this first mass from our reference point, which is 0. So I have put it here 0, plus m2 is the second mass. x2 is the distance of second mass from our reference point. So because this is our reference point, this is second mass. So the distance of second mass from the reference point is the L. So I have right here L divided by m1 plus m2. So I have got the value of x1 as this. Similar to this, in order to find out the value of x2, if this m2 is our reference point, then we apply the formula of center of mass. Then center of mass being m2 as the reference point would be m1 into m1 is the first mass, which is on the other end of the rod, into x1 is the distance of first mass from our reference point, because m2 is the reference point now. So the distance of first mass from our reference point is the whole length of the rod, which is L. So I have to write it here L, plus m2 into x2. x2 is the distance of second mass from our reference point, because the reference point is m2. So the value of x2 is 0 divided by m1 plus m2. So this is the value of x2 we got. Now what we have done, we have simply placed the value of x1 and x2 from the derived value, and with the help of little bit simplification, we got the value of moment of inertia as this. And if we match our answer with the option, so option number A is the correct one. So thank you for watching. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. See you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.